Hey guys, what's up? This is Steve with Slurv, bringing you some cash game cornerstones for today, August 2nd. Gosh, I can't believe we're in August already. It's a Tuesday, and we've got one big slate, so I will shut up about random stuff and get right to some players. First up, catcher. It's never really a fun spot to fill, but today, Jet Bandy, I think, offers some nice value, 2.7 on DK, 2.2 on FanDuel. Facing Manea, who's just not been real good, especially against right-handed batters. And then if you want to spend a little bit more, the Nats went crazy yesterday, and today seems like a pretty good spot for them too, especially the right-handed guys against Robbie Ray, who's been striking out a lot of people but does also struggle with righties. And Wilson Ramos has been batting higher and higher up in the order there. He's really just been having a great season post-LASIK surgery. But his price does reflect that a bit, 4.2 on DK and 3.5 on FanDuel. With all the top pitching out there, catcher might not be the place to pay up, in which case I think Jet Bandy has you covered. Although you might look at Leon, too, who's about the same price, at least on DK. But I like Bandy. I'm beginning to wonder if DraftKings is ever going to price Kendrys Morales up. I like him again today. He hit a home run yesterday. Woo, Kendrys. Against Matt Andresi today. He's been, up and down. But he's 2.7 on DK, a little bit more expensive. And 2.9 on FanDuel. I'm less interested at that price, but not totally uninterested. But if we're paying up today, then I definitely want to pay for Miggy. He gets James Shields. 5.4 on DK, which is a very steep price, but I think they're right in judging his potential. 3.6 on FanDuel is too cheap. I mean, I think he's kind of automatic for me there in cash. And then, I don't know how I feel about it, but I'd be remiss in mentioning it because he's been killing my model. It's John Jaso. He has been making a lot of hard contact, and he gets that's my only real concern is he gets Mike Folty. And Folty doesn't give up much hard contact to left-handed batters. He's one of the highest soft contacts to left-handed batters on the slate. So that kind of concerns me a bit for Jaso. But he is only 2.5 on DK and 3.1 on FanDuel, batting first in the order. FanDuel, I'm not interested at that price, but on DK, you could do a lot worse for 2.5. Boy, Trey Turner made some of last night interesting. Almost as interesting as that weird Padres-Brewers double steal thing that I'm sure Adam is cursing right this very minute because it costs him a good bit of money. But he's starting to show that potential that we've been hearing about all season. And he gets Robbie Ray, as I've mentioned, struggles kind of with righties. He's not a second baseman on FanDuel, which is kind of frustrating. I kind of have this split up because FanDuel and DK are given way different pricing and different positions today, so it makes it difficult. But he's 3.4 on DK, very nice price, also eligible in the outfield. I expect him to be pretty popular, and I would have him in cash games if I were you. Then also on DK, Howie Kendrick. We got a Coors game. I haven't even really mentioned too much of it in the first couple positions here, but we got Coors Field. Lost my place. So Kendrick, right. John Gray is a guy who I like as a pitcher a lot more than I like to target. But that being said, I think that Kendrick at 3.3 on DK, especially if he's nearer the top of the order, but he's probably kind of middle-ish, middle-bottom, is definitely worth investing in to get a piece of that Coors action. He's 3.6 on FanDuel, which I'm far less excited about. I don't hate it there either. And Gray is typically a little bit worse against righties, actually, so hopefully Kendrick can take advantage of that, at least enough to pay off his low salary. But then on FanDuel, I'm really more interested in Kipnis, who let me down big time yesterday, but hey, so did a lot of people. Well, several on the Indians, and in fact, damn you, Danny Salazar. Gets Kyle Gibson, who is, not a great pitcher, not the worst pitcher, but certainly someone that a guy like Kipnis can take advantage of, although he didn't with Barrios, but I'm leaving that alone. 5.2 on DK, just kind of expensive. I don't think that I could pay that. But he's only 3.9 on FanDuel, which is much more reasonable. And also cheap on FanDuel, Scooter Gennett. He gets Perdomo, who gives up 40% hard contact to the left side of the plate. Scooter is a left-handed hitter with a surprising amount of power, not only for a guy named Scooter, but also for a guy playing second base. And I think that he has a good chance to do that. He's 2.9 on FanDuel, 4.0 on DK. Far less interested there when you got Trey Turner and Howie Kendrick for cheaper. Speaking of Turners, how about some Justin Turner? Again, facing John Gray. Again, not my favorite matchup or, guy to pick on, but also, again, Coors Field. 5.0 on DK, they're not messing around. He's expensive. 4.0 on FanDuel, still expensive, but, I don't think it's commensurate exactly. So I definitely like him on both sites, though. And like I said, it's going to be difficult to fit all these guys with the top pitching that you're going to want tonight. But I probably wouldn't give up third base. But if you are going to give up third base, then I like Jeffrey Marte against Manaea. Already mentioned how Manaea can struggle. Excuse me. 3.1 on DK and 2.4 on FanDuel. Just really, really cheap on FanDuel. But a nice bargain on DK too. So he's a guy who hits with power, been hitting in the middle of the order. He's got guys like Mike Trout and Calhoun hitting ahead of him, so good chance that people are on base for him to drive in. I like him as a play, honestly, and if there weren't other strong third base options, I'd consider him even more strongly here. And then, of course, just a reminder, Nolan Arenado is still very good at baseball. Very good, in fact. He's also very expensive. 5.3 on DK, 4.2 on FanDuel. I have nothing negative to say about him other than that he's expensive. He does have a nicer matchup against McCarthy than Turner has against Gray, in my opinion. So, similar kind of story. In fact, it's a Trevor story here. Anyway, God, that was awful. I haven't made any bad Trevor Story puns this year, so just allow me that one awful one to cover the whole season. Really here I prefer Seager, especially on DK. He gets Gray, yeah, it's not as good a matchup as McCarthy, but Story is a lot better against left-handers than he is against righties like McCarthy. And most importantly for cash purposes, Seager strikes out about 20% of the time, and Story strikes out about 35% of the time. You don't want that from a cash guy. That being said, on FanDuel, he's like $500 cheaper. He's 3.9, Seager 4.4. So if you need the savings, then I don't really mind doing that. Just be aware that you're taking on a little added risk of a golden sombrero for strikeout day. And then if you really need to save and you don't want one of these guys, or you want to get your Coors exposure, you want to get your Coors fix elsewhere, Brandon Crawford gets Zach Eflin, who just gives up a bunch of hard contact to the left side of the plate. 4.2 on DK, 3.2 on FanDuel. Nice significant discount over either of the other guys. And, a guy who would be really strongly in play if it weren't for the Coors guys. Well, all right then. We got Josh Reddick in Coors. Doesn't happen a whole lot. I'm pretty interested in it, especially for cash if he's in the top part of the order. One place I looked at him projected 5th, one had him projected 7th. For cash, I like him better, much near the top of the order, especially because he's pretty expensive. Despite the tough matchup with Gray, he's 4.7 on DK, 3.9 on FanDuel. But, just kind of, I figure he'll probably be more popular than he should be. But I'm kind of stuck with that new toy bug too. I want to try out my shiny new toy in Coors Field. Speaking of Coors, let's just get that out of the way now. Carlos Gonzalez is still also very good at baseball. 5.2 on DK, 4.0 on FanDuel. He's a great play, though, as is rookie teammate David Dahl, whose price on DK is just way too cheap at 3.0. 3.7 on FanDuel. You can find $300 extra for cargo. Trust me, you can. One of the ways you could do that is with Tyler Collins against Shields. I'm not giving the same endorsement about him being very good at baseball, but what I am giving an endorsement to is he's 2.5 on DK and bare minimum 2.0 on FanDuel. Shields is definitely an exploitable pitcher, and Collins is up higher in the order than normal. I want to say 6th. I didn't write that down. I think he's a great place to save a little bit of money. There's also Justin Upton against Shields there, who's only 2.8 on FanDuel. 4.1 on DK is reasonable, but not great by any means. And then one guy that just surprised me kind of out of nowhere. I guess they must have played him in the outfield, but Profar is an outfielder now on FanDuel. So this is a FanDuel only play in this case. And he faces Dylan Bundy, who I actually have a good deal of interest in tonight. But for 2.7 leading off, certainly against a young, inexperienced pitcher, it's definitely worth a gamble there. I think if you're looking for some savings and you want to get away from what will be the likely very popular Upton and Collins tonight, then I think you could go with Profar. And that's it for your cash game cornerstones today. I say that like I haven't been talking for 10 minutes. Later on, there isn't an expert chat today, but we'll be hanging around in the tailgate. So slurv.com, free to sign up. Come check us out there. And also come on back by to check out the rundown and our other articles once they're posted a little closer to time when we've gotten lineups in and all the last bits of research done. Good luck tonight, guys.